I'm off on a 1,000-kilometre trip to the tip of Cape York, starting in the Daintree rainforest. Famous for the tagline, where the rainforest meets the reef. Sounds fair enough to me. Passing through Cooktown, the road turns to dirt for most of the way. This massive bird here is the bustard. It's a big bird. Check this out. This is just left Cooktown, and I've just basically got out of town, just heading off to the Cape now. This is officially the Cape trip started today. And I found this campsite, and there's already a nice fire there, and someone's even left some firewood that's been chopped. And there's a river down there and a waterfall, and I was going to try and do a bit tonight, but a bit more driving. But when there's a place like this and the sun's going down, then you'd be a fool to miss it. If you're wondering why there's so much tissue paper around the fire, that's because I bought a tub of yogurt in the angle fridge, which is not a good start for day one. What about salad, I hear you say? There you go, salad. So, I had some car problems that started yesterday. Just electrical car wouldn't start. And I've narrowed it down to these wires down here. Basically, this one's busted. And if I connect them up, it works. I must admit, I don't bother putting a lot of time and effort into car maintenance. Okay, so that's going to work now. Just make sure it's in neutral. Awesome. Before people do big trips, they bang on about making sure everything's working. It's probably good advice, but my snorkel is actually just held on by sticky tape at the moment. Only one windscreen wiper work. Fan belt's loose. Actually, that one can be a bit of a problem. So I'm at a roadhouse here. I bought a spare set of fan belts, and if it goes on the trip, I'll fix it wherever I happen to be. Particularly with old cars, you can usually fix them pretty easy if you just sit down and think about how to fix it. You get this horrible stuff up here called bull dust. It's a really fine talcum powder-like dust that your tyres sink straight through onto whatever's hiding underneath. The steering wheel can pretty much get snatched out of your hand when it goes into unseen ruts. Not to mention the dust that gets absolutely everywhere. I get my GoPro out here. It's always a bonus when you can find a place to wash the dust off. It turns out my fish spear makes a great clothesline. On a quick detour down a side track looking for a campsite, I found a whole family of feral pigs. Just driving the car out and noticed the soap bush here. You can identify it by the underside of the leaves is really white, like that. You pull the leaves off, rough them up in the water, and they lather up like soap and can be used just like any normal soap. A lot of the time the roads are just dead straight, and you do find other cars driving along it. Further north you can head along the old telegraph track, which is pretty rough. A lot of people beef up their underbody clearance and suspension for this one. I'm going to save time and my car by bypassing it and sticking to the main dirt road. Even the main road isn't all peaches and cream, the corrugations can get pretty bad. I picked up this roof topper in Townsville so I could head up the Jardine River for a few days of camping. After 100 metres the engine seized. due to an issue with the water cooling. This engine is shit. The river flows too fast to paddle upstream instead, so I just paddled back to the car and packed it all up again. Not ideal, but not much I can do. As a full-time pilot for most of my life, it really brings it home when you come across an accident scene like this. It must have been a pretty horrid experience for these poor guys in the last minute or two of this flight, which tragically took both their lives. Check out the impact there where the wings hit a tree. We'll go under there. I'll see if he runs off when I get out. You should see how quick they run when they go. No traffic. Come on, mate. Woo. Roads are a dangerous place for lizards. That's the reality of life for a lot of lizards crossing roads, unfortunately. It's a blue tongue. His eyes just moved, this poor little bugger. Oh, dude. You're gonna be sore. I assumed he was dead. Put him around here in the shade. He's not looking real healthy. I don't know, maybe he'll live. Good luck, mate. I had the good fortune to camp under this beautiful native peanut tree. The seeds taste very nice, just like fresh green peas. This one's the red bush apple. Tastes quite similar to a real apple. It's just got like a much thinner, fleshy part. So these are magnetic ant mounds. They align north-south. They're not actually magnetic north-south, it's actually true north-south. And it helps keep an even temperature inside the mound. So driving on these small tracks, wherever I can, I don't actually have it all four wheels in four-wheel drive. I use the low-range gearing, but I don't lock the front hubs. That reduction in friction between all four wheels basically just means I use less fuel. I've also got to remember I've got the boat on the roof because it can easily get ripped off. And look at this, someone's come along here with a caravan or something and had the awning ripped off the side. Just come across a rainforest bit here. So this is where I take particular look out when the vegetation changes like this. The bushtucker changes a lot. Nearly trod on this snake. It's not a bad one, just looks like a tree snake. He's probably about 1 metre long. He's stuck, mate. Someone run over you maybe. Oh no, he's good. There we go. So this caught my eye when I was walking along. It's a vine, and see how the leaves come to a point at the end of the leaf? That basically just gives away that it's a yam. So I followed the vine back through the grasses here to where it enters the ground just here, and then I dug down and found the yams underneath. So these long yams will get a lot bigger than this, but it's still pretty good. They're kind of like a bush staple food. I've left some in the ground so the plant doesn't die, and I actually haven't even pulled the vine out. I've just taken a few from the bottom. Aboriginal people used to cut one off and plant it back in the ground again, so there was always more for later as well. They were really good at preserving resources, so they were there for next time. So I'd try and do the same thing when I'm out in the bush. Despite being the dry season, I've still got a bit of rain on this trip. I'm very close to the tip now, and I need to find some dinner. Plan B is to use a fishing rod, and a great place to fish is on a peninsula, and they don't come bigger than this one. This is the very tip of the pointy 1,000 kilometre long triangle of land at the northernmost extremity of Australia. So I've biggest joint chevalier ever. Right at the tip of Cape York. It's an absolute monster. It is absolutely massive. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm lucky to get this. Oh, strength. Oh, he's going to take me around those rocks. He's just taken the biggest run. Oh, he was going out 10 times faster than this. I'm going to get spooled in a second. Look at my GoPro battery. It was getting low, so I'm going to turn off. And hopefully when I turn on, I haven't lost it. I lost him. I literally got spooled. He took all the line off the spool. And I'm down to the last probably 1 foot of line on there. And I just had to put the brakes on. It's a real shame, he was a monster of a fish. And I feel bad now because he's got a hook in him. Right on the tip of Cape York. Biggest GT I've ever seen. Having rusty hooks like this is actually a good thing because it'll rust out of the fish's mouth quicker if the line does break. So then I had to go and get my smaller backup rod and just got busted off right there. Oh man, oh no. So the sun's literally setting up here on Cape York and it's sort of setting on this trip too. I'll head back down much more quickly than I came up. Might do a couple of videos on the way down, it just depends what sort of things eventuate. I was hoping to cook some dinner tonight with some special ingredients that I picked up, some native ginger, the yams and whatever, but I think I'm just going to have sausages instead. And they're thawed out, they need eating up. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the last, it must have been 5 or so videos on this trip. And if you like it, subscribe because there's a whole bunch of stuff coming up, particularly as I announce my next feature film that I'm doing. I've pretty much got the plan set for it, I'm just tying up a few things on this trip. Follow me on Facebook, Outback Mike, or Instagram, Outback_Mike, and then you'll see what's coming up there because it's going to be pretty exciting and a pretty big trip. Thanks for watching.